8:30, and time for our High Beam Talk with the Doc this morning, which is being brought to you by Mako's Pharmacy at 240 East 3rd Street in downtown Yorksville. Mako's Pharmacy is your local pharmacy with a caring and knowledgeable staff, and they are focused on your health and wellness. And so is Dr. Timothy McKnight. Good morning, Dr. McKnight. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great.
Good. Sounds like you're doing great. And we are approaching the holidays, so first I want to wish you and your family and everyone a very Merry Christmas up front. And then I'm not going to ask what you're going to eat, but I know that we're all going to eat Christmas food, holiday treats, just a variety of things. And a lot of those I'm not used to eating most of the year. Is that going to cause me a problem?
Well, I think it causes almost all of us a problem. You know, who hasn't seen a plate of cookies or a box of chocolates around Christmas time and had nibbled on one or two, and before you know it, you've got 3 or 4 in your mouth, and you start to feel guilty and bloated, and you feel like you're gaining weight, and then it just can kind of spiral downhill from there. So
that's true. It does taste good initially, right?
Oh, it sure does. That's the appeal. That's why it's the gift. You know? Something that you want to make people happy, and those kind of foods do make you happy for a while, at least until you feel it on your hips. And you know, the one thing I notice with those kind of foods is it just makes me so hungry. It's sometimes you start eating those, it's hard to stop.
Yeah,
and you know, you pay the price for that.
Why is that? When you're eating and it's making you hungry, or what's the cause of that?
Well, it's the sugar. You know, we've talked before about those hormones that get in your brain when you start eating sugar. Not only does insulin levels go up, and insulin is what makes you make fat, but the hormone ghrelin, it just skyrockets with sugar, and ghrelin is what makes you feel hungry even when you've had an excess of calories and you shouldn't be hungry.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes you feel like you can't stop eating, and it makes you crave those carbs. So that's the thing we're trying to control. But if we're eating sweets and carbs, you know, we're going to really have to overcome that drive in our brain that says, feed me more.
So having a plan ahead of time is undoubtedly a good idea.
Yeah, and I think the plan would be don't indulge, but that's hard to do. And so if you are going to eat those carbs and sweets, realize what those things will do to you. And the plan would be to fast, so you're not eating those things. So you go 18 to 24 hours after a couple days with chocolate and cookies to kind of reset your metabolism, reset the metabolism, and reset that hormone ghrelin to downregulate it so it doesn't drive you crazy in your brain and make you want to keep eating.
Right.
So fasting would be one thing you could do. Exercise is a great one because for some reason, I'm sure it's hormonal, but when you get out and walk or you go to the gym and you exercise and you sweat, that helps to control the appetite. And at least for that 2 or 3 hours after an exercise session, you're not feeling that hunger that comes with those carbs. And the thing that most of us know we should do that we don't do this time of year is eat vegetables. They're high in fiber, and that helps to curb our appetite. But of course, that doesn't appeal near as much as some of those Christmas foods and candies. So those are the things we should do, but trying to control that is a completely different animal.
You and I talked for a minute. What are some of the physical pains or discomforts that can come out of this if you don't fast or exercise or eat the vegetables without a quart of ranch dressing?
Yeah, well, I think that obviously weight gain is what we all notice. And one thing you have to realize is if you've had a bad day with food in the office, those snack foods and those gifts that people are giving you, and you've gained 3 pounds the next day, that is clearly not fat. That's going to be maybe a half a pound of fat and 2.5 pounds of water retention.
Mm-hmm.
So people get upset and concerned about that. But as soon as you eat carbs and sweets, you're putting you're storing that sugar in your liver and your muscles, and every time you store that sugar, there's a lot of water retention that goes in that. So that comes off quickly in a 24-hour fast with urination.
Yeah.
So hunger and weight gain would be the first two, but when you eat too many carbs and sweets, that is really a form of oxidative stress. And oxidative stress causes inflammation, and we feel that inflammation with joint pain, with fatigue, with a decline in your mental. I'm not going to say acuity, but just your the way you process mentally. Everything seems slower. You think a little bit more fuzzy.
Mm-hmm.
So we can feel that in the nervous system, and I mentioned joint pain. And probably bloating is another sign of eating the wrong foods, because really what happens is when you put these foods in your body, your intestinal tract is flooded with sugar and thoughts that are probably not healthy for you. And the bacteria in your gut, they start to change in response to that. And we've mentioned this before. You think of your gut as this lush garden with all these healthy vegetables and plants and shrubs and grasses and flowers. And now we're starting to change the content where some of those healthy bacteria aren't thriving. They're being starved out by the weeds and the bacteria that are not good for us. And those bacteria secrete a lot of toxins, and those toxins are actually what cause us to have more pain, not think as clear, feel puffy around our eyes, have just not function at the high level.
Mm-hmm.
So really, what we're doing is changing that microbiome, and we're disrupting that healthy balance. And that's why getting back to vegetables and fasting and even sometimes probiotics can put us back in balance and help us control all those cravings and control the weight gain that we experience.
And keep our gut, as you want to say, in its normal sense of timing. Is that putting it delicately enough?
Well, yes, that is. What you're saying is soft, regular bowel movements, and that's a sign of a healthy gut. When we're bloated, when we have constipation, when we have diarrhea, something is happening to those bacteria in our gut that are there to help us absorb food and break down food, and they help us make vitamins. Those bacteria are extremely important for us, and when they're disrupted, we will know that there's been a change in the regular bowel movements that we're supposed to have. So the other thing, I think some of us get a little dehydrated also, and that can impair the normal bowel movements that we should be having. So,
and alcohol makes
absolutely.
that way worse.
Alcohol makes it worse too. Unfortunately, alcohol is it can't be made into sugar, but it can get converted into fat. So, you can gain weight on alcohol, and a lot of people don't realize that. Alcohol is a toxin. Our liver does not like alcohol. It can destroy the liver. So our liver has to work overtime to break down alcohol and to remove the toxic effects of it. And, in moderation, we can probably do okay with a little bit of alcohol. But for some people, that's a trigger to drink more and more, and then the liver becomes injured.
Yeah.
So
right.
it's moderation in everything, and it's really trying to control all of those things that get us into trouble by just being careful and continuing to do those things that keep us healthy, eating the vegetables, exercising, being careful that we don't overdo it, and maybe taking probiotics to balance the gut.
And now you have a perfect excuse to not eat Aunt Marge's fruitcake.
The fruitcake has never been a temptation for me. I don't understand why that's an appeal to some people. So I feel pretty good about my ability to turn that one away. But give me a plate of cookies or chocolates, and that's much more of a temptation than fruitcake.
I'm right with you there. So hey, well, we thank you for the information. It's really good stuff right before our big Christmas weekend, and hopefully you have a very joyous one and find yourself just as healthy when we talk to you next week.
Well, I hope so, and best holidays to you and your family, Brad.
I appreciate that.
Hope you enjoy time with your family.
Certainly will. Thanks, Tim.
All right, you're welcome. Have a great day.
Thank you. That's Dr. Tim McKnight as we talk about eating well for the holidays on Talk with the Doc on our 8:30 High Beam this morning, which has been brought to you by Makos Pharmacy. Makos offers their customers and community free assistance with comparing and selecting a plan based on your specific prescription needs. Call Makos Pharmacy 740-922-5400.